Thank you and welcome everyone. So I'd love to invite us to enjoy a moment of transition if you're open to it by, maybe just briefly closing your eyes, maybe placing a hand on the heart, maybe taking a few deep breaths, or however else you'd like to resource yourself. To come into true connection as our true selves and to access the depth of wisdom that we each uniquely have access to. It's an invitation to become fully present. Yeah, just breathing in maybe through every single cell, imagining a bright white golden light saturating your being, your field, just nourishing, calling in nourishment, resource, support, healing. So much is available to us now. So much access is opening up on this planet now. It is phenomenal. It is such a gift. And see if you can connect in with the earth. Maybe imagining light dropping down through your feet, connecting in with the earth's core. Maybe breathing in some of the earth's energy through your body, through your field, into your heart. And see if you can let go of any sensation of gripping or holding or tightness. Just letting the body relax, even a little bit. From deep relaxation and presence, we allow our higher mind, our multidimensional consciousness, to orient, to lead, to see more clearly. Thank you. So it's an honor to be with you today. And I know that Joan and Neil invited me to this a really long time ago. And, we're just moving through so many lifetimes every day now. Everything's speeding up. And when I tune in with my guidance about what to share, I want to share presence, really. I learned about the Akashic records in 2015. Share a little context and background just so those who are new can feel some of my context. And then I think I'd like to maybe close with another transmission, just a direct felt experience. This is really the best way that my gifts are transmitted or shared, is through just direct energetic transmission and healing. And so I love to share in that way, but it wasn't always that way. I started my journey in 2011 when I decided to get sober after a 10-year journey with drugs and alcohol and numbing out, really not wanting to be on this planet. It was really painful to just exist. I had no tools or resource to understand how to navigate being in a human body in this density. I know many are coming into this awareness now as well. It's just as you awaken and become more sensitized and understand what embodiment really means, it can bring so many challenges, around how to really navigate, how to use your body, how to awaken your senses, your abilities. And I had so much psychic sensitivity, and I had no idea that that's what was going on. I just thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was crazy. And I didn't understand how other people around me could just go through life feeling seemingly normal. I didn't understand. And so when I was 14 years old and I found drugs and alcohol, I was so relieved. It was a way for me to finally relax and stop being so anxious and, um, in a way, just fit in and try to be normal. I had so much anxiety. I was overwhelmed by my empathic abilities. I could feel everything happening around me, and I just had no awareness of how to operate other than to shut off and shut down. So I did that for about 10 years. I had a lot of dangerous experiences and near-death experiences and forays into, yeah, just really near, close calls, I would say. But I laugh in hindsight a little bit because it just feels like I wasn't allowed to leave. And maybe some other people listening relate to that. We were not allowed to leave even if we wanted to, because we have an important mission to fulfill here, and such is the awakening journey. So 2011, I got sober. I hit a really, and enough of a bottom where I was finally ready to stop. I wanted to live. I didn't know how to live, but I asked for help and I started to learn how to take care of myself. But putting down the substances was the first requirement before anything else could happen. And even after putting down the substances, I felt crazy, and I didn't know if that was the right. It had a lot of doubt. I had so much fear. I had so much anxiety. I had 10 years of unprocessed emotional material. For me, it was clear that when I put down the drugs and alcohol, I kind of reverted to the age at which I began, which is 14 years old. So I was 24 years old, but I was really like in the body and consciousness and the emotional maturity of a 14-year-old. At the time, I was working full-time in advertising in New York, really stressful environment. And I just did the best I could do with what I had. I went through 12-step recovery. I started meditating. I started really just dialing into whatever I could find that could help me. And one day, very synchronistically, amidst feeling crazy and overwhelmed by anxiety and paranoia, I didn't know what was wrong. Everything finally looked good in my life, and I still felt crazy. I felt so anxious and overwhelmed. And two different people referred me to the same woman for Reiki, this thing called Reiki, which I had never heard of. And I trusted and I went and it changed my life. And I had a Reiki energy healing session and I felt clear. I felt myself for the first time in my life consciously. And that was the first time I heard the word empath. I talk about this journey a lot in my book, The Empath Experience, which has helped a lot of people in case this message resonates. There's lots of practices in there as well around attuning to centered, grounded sense of self if you have highly activated empathic gifts. And it just changed everything. I started to really learn about energy, my energy system, how to take care of myself, how to thrive, how to feel good, how to stop taking on everything around me. And then from there, my intuition came online in a new way. My multidimensional experience of reality came online in a new way because I built my energy system and body in a way that could actually sustain the amount of energy I'm here to translate. And things started to get really interesting. I had always, had a kind of a comfort in, discussing topics that other people thought were weird, like aliens and galactics and spaceships and other universes and realities. It all felt very normal to me always, but I didn't read too much into it until I started really delving deeper into energy healing and inner child healing and trauma healing and all the modalities that have helped so many. And all my teachers, all my mentors, so grateful. Then one day, years later, I'm at a healing center in New York where I was actually offering energy healing. The tables turned. I became a healer. I was offering sessions and readings, just kind of dabbling. I would naturally kind of give a reading based on what I saw working on someone's body energetically. And then one day in the newsletter, I saw this thing called Akashic Records training or certification, and I had no idea what that meant. I just knew in every cell that I knew on some level. My mind didn't know, but I knew, and I knew I had to be there. And I went, and it was a 3-day workshop with Christina Cross, who I'm so grateful for this woman. She was one of the main students of Linda Howe, who's such a pioneer of this work and bringing the understanding of the Akashic Records into mass consciousness. And I really feel myself as part of that lineage and I'm so grateful to them and the work that they've done to template this path that so many of us are now on. And, in that experience, I had an immediate remembrance of other lifetimes, of other timelines in which I've taught this work, in which in which we've lived in other realities where this is just the norm and everyone was accessing the records and higher dimensional consciousness and guidance and just absolute home. And I also felt immense grief, as I know many are experiencing now at this time, of feeling like the heartbreak almost of not having had this remembrance in this life until then. I felt like I had been missing out, it all hit. And awakening can be like this sometimes. So I was processing this grief and this mourning and this feeling of loss and at the same time this feeling of wow, I feel more myself now. This piece is here now ready to integrate. And then we started sharing and doing attunements and giving readings, and I had just really fast recall of my abilities. And it was so much fun and so affirming to share. And I started giving readings, and then I started sharing. And I part of the trajectory too was in 2016. I started my coaching business. I left my agency background, PR background, and started traveling, going to Bali, New Zealand, getting huge soul retrievals there in these sacred lands, having additional amplification of abilities. And many at this time will be called to go to certain places on Earth to get activations and support from very particular fields on the planet that are meant to nourish us and, help to awaken our dormant DNA and abilities. Because we've been to these places before in other lifetimes, or we've seeded energy in these places from other dimensions, even. And so I feel deep connection to Bali, Hawaii, Tulum, Sedona, Shasta, kind of the Lemurian circuit, and then New Zealand have been some of the most potent places for my personal soul retrieval, and maybe for some here listening who really resonate with the consciousness of Lemuria and the Palladians and Blue Avians, a little bit older in the history. And so, yeah, go where you're called. Even if your mind doesn't understand, the body and the soul may be guiding you to go where you're meant to be at a certain time, at a particular time, and it's the plan is usually bigger than we know. It's like our soul family constellation is situated at different vortexes and portals at certain times on the planet to assist with anchoring planetary fields and higher consciousness grids that allow for more access and really healing and nourishment to come in for those ready to receive. So in this way, I feel myself part of a team. I feel all of us a part of a team, and I commend the beautiful work that Neil and Joan and the whole Portal to Ascension crew have been templating all this time, bringing people together, even in a Zoom like this. We're all around the world, situated in our pillar of light, in our portal of ascension, and together we're bringing in these new frequencies through our bodies. This is what I really want to speak to, through our body. This is the key, embodied ascension. This is what I've been shown. The last few years, the term came to me, embodied ascension, that prior to, I don't know what happened the last couple years, but something shifted for me in 2018 in my practice and sharing and mentoring many people. And people started coming to me asking me to teach them this work, the Akashic Records work. I had been calling it soul sourcing sessions for years, not really fully knowing what that meant, maybe as much as I feel now. And I started mentoring people, and they just came out of nowhere. And then I started a program in 2020, started a practitioner training. Since then, I've graduated almost 100 facilitators of this work that I share. Akashic facilitator training. It's kind of getting a brand update called to call it Soul Source Facilitation, which just feels more authentic. Because what I've been shown since 2018, and I don't know if any other speakers have touched into this. I'd love to know if others have seen this. In 2018, something shifted either in my energetic embodiment and or of, shift in the planetary frequencies such that access into the Akashic realm as I had previously knew it changed. And what I had been kind of engaging in, how I learned to read the records, it just totally expanded. I felt access open up to so many new dimensions of awareness, so many new guides, new counsels, new universes. I've started to become aware of, I had always known about multiversal, omniversal consciousness, I guess conceptually, but at that time I really started to feel it. Like, oh wait, this is real. There are many other universes than just our own. There are many, many, many more galaxies beyond just this. There's so much more to it than just what star seed are you. There's so much more to the whole thing. And so something feels like it distinctively shifted and access opened up in a way that maybe humanity was also ready for. We were ready to receive more information. And those of us kind of templating the higher consciousness on the planet through our embodiment were able to, open up more access. That's what it seemed like to me. So then I started seeing in my sessions, which previously involved more, what I would call now a little bit more spiritual entertainment, like what past life and your starseed origin and all that's good and fun and well, but something really started to change in my guidance where, the directives were more focused on, anything and everything required to help someone be embodied as themselves now in this life. No distractions, no escapism, no bypassing, no avoidance, no copping out on, well, in this lifetime in Atlantis, I did this, so now I'm stuck in this contract. And I started to experience an ascension out of fourth dimensional constructs that I believe a lot of the original templating of the Akashic records on this planet was built upon, right around contracts and, will and less free will and more of like this sense of being beholden to soul contracts from other lifetimes and karma and a lot of like more dense kind of like hard rules and hard lines of even games of engage rules of engagement. This is a lot of my guides speaking through, by the way. Maybe you can feel that it speeds up, so I'm slowing down. And laughing because sometimes it feels like they're tickling me. Some of these higher energies. It's so sweet. Ah, yeah, beautiful. What's most important to share with this group now, given what's already been said? Mm. And so this is when I heard the directive about embodied ascension, and that, previously there was so much conditioning socially, collectively, religiously, even within spiritual communities about, using technologies like the Akashic records and otherwise to blast out of the body and have peak experiences and catharsis experiences that, feel like bliss and touching into divinity and feeling high frequency states, but not in a stable, consistent, embodied way. Kind of getting high, honestly, but then having a bit of a crash or inflating to then collapse temporarily. And so I started to explore what does embodied ascension mean? And I came to go through it in some painful initiations in my own process of having some big visions and big missions. And then, long story short, falling on my face a lot and deflating big time after inflating in a huge way I didn't even know I had been doing. And ultimately hitting another bottom in 2019, right before the whole world, got a little vacation, um, and realized, wow, in order to really translate the frequencies I'm here to build and share on the planet, I must rebuild my body and my nervous system to be attuned to deeper presence. This is what many of us are being initiated through right now, because nothing else really matters but your capacity to be present with what is. And it's a never-ending journey. And And as I started doing this embodiment work and healing and hours and hours and hours of healing and trauma healing and therapy and energetic work and activations and moved to Hawaii, was there for 3 years in silence alone for more than I've ever been in my whole life. My view of this work really started to change and started to just open up again in another way, where I started to see, are we really just accessing the Akashic records, or what does that even mean? Or is the Akashic records actually just a segment of a far greater, far vaster technology involving quantum energy healing, direct transmission, remote transmission, all kinds of other multidimensional abilities like remote viewing, biolocation, really in-depth cellular healing and regeneration, DNA activation, all of these other kinds of things I started to see that I had been doing in energy healing were connected to this field I had learned about called the Akashic Records. But it just felt like all I had learned about in the Akashic Records was so limited compared to what I was experiencing firsthand, especially in sessions with other people and in group fields. When in groups, we're able to anchor really high frequencies and ground them into the planet and ground them through our bodies with that collective, cohesive, coherent support. And so I don't know if I have any specific answers. My guidance has been to start to write and explore and teach. My kind of live experiential training is about exploring these topics, researching in the quantum field these topics with our guides through direct experience. We have so much knowledge and wisdom, and people like Debbie, like these galactic historians and librarians that provide so much data. And thank you so much. It's incredible. And it's also important, I find, to have your own experience. Anybody can open the records, anybody can open these realms, anybody can access. And to have clearer, more in-depth, consistent access is an embodiment process. It is requiring a nervous system attunement. And I like to say energy system as opposed to nervous system, right? And we're invited into more spiritual maturity, which requires taking responsibility for our embodiment, for our energy. Get to know your energy system. Get to know your body, get to know your creational style, your pacing, your rhythm, your unique signature, your frequency, the frequencies you're meant to anchor and hold and integrate and translate. This is the most exciting part of being alive. We're each so unique. And find your own style, find your own way. So in my training, I was guided to share, the first 2 weeks of the 9-week training is I teach exactly what I learned, how I learned, to honor my teachers, to honor my lineage. And oh, I just see a thumbs up pop up. That's so funny. And but then from there, it's like I teach the Akashic records how I learned it as a gateway for you to understand how to find your own authentic modality for interpreting quantum consciousness, for interpreting guidance from your councils, your different dimensional aspects, your unique insight that is meant to help you in your embodiment to be here now as yourself. This is the most spiritual practice any of us could do, right? It's like to be here, fully alive, as you, as your true self, without any of the masks, without false personalities, without the heaviness of the strategies of survival and protection that so many of us unconsciously picked up, part of the initiation and awakening. And it's a never-ending process to be more free, to be truly liberated. And it's just far more simple than we make it, I find, again and again. I love simplicity. Is there anything else I want to say? I was shown also recently, and I've been seeing this reflected here and there, like, maybe an update on some of our terminology is required. Like, a question for this field, are we really just accessing the Akashic records, or are we accessing, would it be more articulate to say that we're accessing the quantum field, the known field, the field in which we have access to all that is, all that was, all that ever will be beyond time and space, and that the Akashic records are an element, a dimensional plane within this greater multidimensional field that we always have access to, where we can get very specific reads on our soul purpose, on our soul origin, on our history, on our gifts, abilities, also on wounds and things that we repeatedly come in again to alchemize and transmute for ourselves and for the collective. Is there a more articulate way to share about what it is that we're really doing? And and does that even matter at the end of the day if what you're doing is helping, also? So I like to stay curious and open and flexible and to not be too constricted by any particular identity. And this term Akashic Records, it has a resonance and it calls people in, and it is becoming more normalized now for people to be asking about it, which is wonderful. But for me personally, I'm kind of always situated. My guides have me on the cutting edge of what's coming in, the next 10,000 years. So I'm asking these questions because I know that's what's coming. This is going to be normalized soon, sooner than we think. We have all of our systems of our infrastructural world changing far faster than we could have imagined. And we're being asked to prepare for new ways of trading in our economy and new ways of trading value, exchanging value, sharing our creativity beyond the traditional idea of work. And so many awakening, wanting to help, wanting to serve, wanting to heal, having these amazing remembrances and recalls of who they are and why they're here. And so many master healers on this planet. And we have so much technology at our disposal. And I don't mean the kind that you think. I mean the inner technology of our bodies. This is the ultimate technology that we came prepackaged with and ready to share. And it is really, I feel, my highest prayer for humanity at this time is that we awaken our innate dormant abilities. We learn to express our authenticity. We really open up our intuitive higher mind, our multidimensional capacity to translate and transmit these frequencies that each of us is meant to bring through. They're meant for healing, they're meant for awakening, they're meant for fun and creativity. This is how we build this new world, right? That we want to see, we came for. But we first start with the embodiment piece. We're not doing this work to blast out and get high. Although, trust me, I love to be high on energy, but I want to be grounded. A term I was given recently is grounded ecstasy. What's it like to be in ecstatic bliss, presence, high energy, but grounded, present, not frenetic, no anxiety, just here, but very ecstatic, full of love. This is what I want to embody. This is what I want to attune to with others. And I know it's possible, and we can't do it alone. I mean, maybe we can. It's not as fun. So I love to practice and share with others that are called to this work. And it's not always fun. It can be really arduous and challenging what comes up to feel along the way to lighten the load. It can be really arduous. It can be painful. And this world is going to need more attuned facilitators who are embodied, who can see, who have capacity. When I say embodied, I mean you have a capacity to be with very powerful energy and not get thrown off center. You have a capacity for someone to share with you very intense situations, but you can see from a grounded place of presence and neutrality what's happening, and you can access your higher mind, your multidimensional abilities, your healing abilities to help this other person unlock the same in themselves. A real healer is not really healing someone else, they're holding space and attunement so that someone else can open up their own healing abilities. So that feels really exciting to imagine. More healers waking up, more epic facilitators standing up to take the lead. And yeah, I think that's complete. Um, I'd like to offer just a brief transmission and embodiment of what I have shared to some extent so that you can, let's see, my intentions would be integration support of this powerful day that you shared, support for your energy system to be able to ground in any particularly challenging frequencies that you're called to work with at this time, nourishment and resource for the energy system. Many are having health issues happening now or detoxing because there's a massive shift just this week, actually. I don't know if you all felt it, but very big shift, kicking up all kinds of stuff out of the density of the body to detox and clean so that these higher frequencies emerging can really land and empower us. And they feel very fast moving, very potent, very magnetic, driving momentum for some of our creations and our visions, but also likewise highlighting awareness of stuff in the way of being fully ready to receive our visions, right? So I'd love to offer, to call in, offer, and transmit support for that. Accelerated processing. And yeah, and then I always love to just call in the support of amplified manifestation for our gifts to come online, for our dormant abilities to awaken, for our DNA to unlock. Oftentimes, when I'm in sessions or even in groups like this, I can see the image of, like, if you could imagine DNA spiral, just getting like a window washing, like there are these beautiful mirrors in our DNA and these like crystalline surfaces that are just getting dusted off or like wiped like a window, just cleaning the muck off the lenses so you can see clearly, so the light within you can emanate freely, can translate powerfully. So you might imagine that vision could be helpful to work with. Okay, and then there's something cool too we uncovered. I just hosted a really fun retreat in Bali November, and we were anchoring some big energies. And there's a very fun technology that we brought through that I would like to offer here as a gift. And it is a part of Essentia energy healing, which was something I feel like I was gifted. It's a frequency healing technology, and anybody can use it. And we'll just explore what that wants to be. So this will be very brief. But if you're open to receiving and sharing, you can go ahead and just recenter in yourself. I like to sigh or make a sound and just deep breath out, kind of letting go. There's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to keep track of. There's nothing to know right now. Take a few deep, full body breaths in through the feet, breathing in the energy of the earth all the way through to the crown of the head, all the way out. And you can imagine as you're breathing in and out, like you're filling a glass of water and emptying it out, like really imagining a wave of. This is funny, this is coming in so clearly to imagine. Like, imagine the waves of the ocean, your most favorite ocean, or maybe the oceans of Lemuria, of Hawaii, Kauai, Maui, just washing through you, just for fun, calling it in, washing in, breathing in, washing out, breathing out, and allowing with every breath in the cells to let go of any density, any old memory, any old identities they're holding on to. Feeling the DNA getting this window washing, this mirror, like wiping it off. It's really effortlessly, just because you are open to receive. And calling in, rather acknowledging the presence of all of our guides, councils, loved ones, ancestors, masters, teachers, benevolent beings, all of our teams. This is a big team we have here. This is the infinite team. And just feeling the love surrounding you. What is it like to move through the world knowing you are surrounded by infinite love, infinite resource, and support at all times? Feeling it now and remembering later, remembering tomorrow, this feeling, remembering it in your life. This is real. This is truth. Letting the love and support in. Feeling any intention alive in your heart now, simply expressing it telepathically into our field. Any specific intention for what you are now ready to embody, receive, integrate, transmute. Let it be welcome here, anchored in our field, amplified manifestation. I am statements are very powerful commands to this end. Mm, beautiful. And then the guidance is to breathe into your heart, feeling your heartbeat. You might even place a hand on the heart, breathing powerfully into the palm of your heart, to the palm of your hand. Taking a few really intentional, full, deep breaths into the heart, filling the heart space with your loving intention, with your I am presence, intention. Feeling that radiating through your whole being, through this whole field, that any intention you have for embodiment, for your highest timeline, it is a blessing not only to you, but to embody. It is a blessing not only for you, but for all others seeking to similarly embody. We are all helping each other in this way. Hmm, beautiful. All right. Any specific messages now for this group? Hmm. I feel a really strong guiding light around this whole field. Very strong guidance from our friends and the Palladian Council, the Arcturians, Syrians, as was mentioned, the Lyrians, and far beyond this universe, right? So many of the starseed galaxies nations here are like they're the students of more ancient realms, far beyond, and some of which were mentioned. I appreciate hearing about Cassiopeia. And the feeling, if you can open your heart to experience, receive, to tune in, to attune, the feeling, if I could translate as best I can, is you are loved, you are enough, you are so much more well equipped for this journey than you could ever know. You are so well traveled through this universe, through this multiverse. Can you feel your magnitude? We are being asked to feel our magnitude, our immensity, our power. This is in a humble way, not in an egoic, inflated way, but with humility, with reverence, with devotion, with a sacredness. Magnitude. Immense, infinite beings, each and every one, with a unique contribution, intricately designed, architected to contribute to the whole, like puzzle pieces fitting perfectly together side by side. Hmm. How can you best support yourself to connect with your soul, to connect with your divinity on a daily, moment to moment basis? How will you nourish your body to be able to receive and have the capacity to sustain in the highest possible frequencies that you are here to imbue, to share, to translate? Liberation is a choice if we decide to make it. And remember, we are meant to be light. we can be much more light in our walk through this plane. We can let go. Mm. And sometimes that is simple as allowing the body to release the grip, supporting the body to let go of where it's holding. And explore what embodiment means for you. Explore what your connection to source really means to you beyond what anyone else is saying. It can be helpful to have teachers and guides and data and knowledge. And at the end of the day, you're here for your own self actualization, in which you answer to your own divinity and define the terms of your engagement in this reality. It is a tall order. It is a great responsibility with which comes great power, which you have had all along. Oh, thank you. All right, beautiful. I feel some emotional clearing happening, just holding space for whatever is moving and allowing, allowing. Mm. And also so much joy and gratitude. What a blessing to be alive. What a blessing to be able to share. What a blessing to be able to articulate, and people actually understand and want to know and want to learn. Like we're at such an exciting moment. I cry a lot actually. It's like, wow, we're here. And sometimes it's crying around the density of this body and this planet and are we there yet? And then at the same time, the gratitude and the awe, the awe. These infinite souls we are came into these bodies with so much history and so much to transmute because it's through the body that we can feel. We cannot do this anywhere else in the multiverse. Earth is the only place we can come into a body and feel and sense and perceive and physicalize into form. It's phenomenal. It's like the grandest adventure of all time, the greatest party in all the multiverse. And we're the VIPs, right? And many of us here were pioneering this consciousness on Earth in this way for the first time. There have been other iterations of this planet. We've been here before. And we're doing things now in a new way that we've never done. And it's okay to feel at times like, I don't know what to do. In fact, I was shown earlier, I've been shown lately, it's really healthy to admit, I don't know. That's when we let go of the mind and we can allow something new to happen. Ah, yeah, there's so much here, so much love, so much gratitude, and I'm honored to be with you. Thank you so much. Beautiful energy, beautiful field, and gratitude to you all for taking this time for yourself.